Did I get your bits, Andy? Yes, I did. Good evening, Paul and Steve. Lurking tonight. Last night was work conference with a free bar. Need I say more? Hope you're both well. Thank you very much, Andy.
I just saw you come flying in the next week. Smash. Lol.
There you go.
Jumped out the tractor without turning it off. Right, now we need combine.
Oh, yeah.
What
are we seeding again?
We're going to be collecting sunflowers, so we don't actually need the trailer. We only need the header.
Jules, in Farm Sim 18, you have to pay to wash your tractor. It's outrageous, Jules. Brengle, copper pipe. This is new to me, sir. I'm behind here holding this green screen up. Have you tricked me? If I let go of the screen, it won't fall? Pringle, no, it's, you're definitely keeping the green screen up, mate. Don't let go of it. You're vital to it staying there.
Oh, that guy. I remember that guy. I've not seen him in chat for a while either.
Who?
The person that said, I'm sure I just saw the green screen move. Yeah, it's Pringle's. What field was it? 21? Okay.
Who makes these maps is, he's known as the map maker. I don't know. We're all going 21.
Yeah, 21. Turn left out of the farm.
Left out of it.
You need some proper sound effects, you know, when you do that. So it's like, the map maker. Mad McGarry, or McGarry, yes. It's Oregon Springs.
I thought you said Onion Springs then. It's like, what?
Yeah, you're going to get all teary-eyed on us.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Reaper, Squirrel and Steve, you might want to check the moon tonight, as it's going to be extra bright tonight. Must be something special going on, or has Steve got his extra bright spotlight on it again?
Probably.
I used to have a torch. It was so good. I can't remember how many lumens it was, but it basically created a beam. Like a very, very, very powerful beam of light. The battery only lasted about 15 minutes on it. You had to plug it in to charge it up. But it used to shine at things up in the sky, and it was like a misty day. You could see it, just this beam going up for so far.
Nice.
So it was pretty good fun. Wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, are you seeing the same as me? That bit of crop is like not harvested or not fully grown yet.
It's either not grown or it's a different crop. I don't know.
Or it could be a different crop actually. Yeah, I'm just going to keep to the left of that.
Weird.
Yeah, it is. It's two different crops. That's corn. Don't harvest that. Someone did a boo-boo.
Can't imagine what kind of scumbag would create a tapestry using the wrong crop. Imagine that.
I know, right?
I did that last week, Mad Mick. That's a lie, and you know it.
We didn't do 21 last week.
It's a complete lie, Mad Mick. That's
wait.
Heresy, that is.
Actually, it might be.
That's a suable offence, that is.
Yeah, we need video. We need video proof, Mad Mick.
There was nothing but professional farming all last week, so how can I possibly have done that?
I just remember now.
I am genuinely outraged right now, Steve.
I mean, I'm gonna side with you. You know, I am 100% sure that you didn't see that incorrectly last week and then realised and then went back and
that never happened.
It never happened. Yeah, exactly.
I can't even remember anything like that.
No. Yeah, Mikey, it would be something that I would do. However, I deny all knowledge without my lawyer present.
Are you basically saying we're dodgy seeders now? Is that what you're saying?
We're dodgy builders, dodgy farmers, dodgy seeders. That's going to be next week's title. Dodgy seeders. Or dodgy farmers. Where everything just goes wrong.
Or dodgy loggers when we get round to that.
I think logging's coming in next week.
Exactly.
I hope so, because it's been a while since we've done
I think
logging.
it is logging maybe next week.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done logging, because the last couple of farms that we've been on haven't really had a logging area.
Paul, can I send you 2 GTX 980s with water box to give away? The problem with that, Ant, is that the only people that could use them are going to be people who have got water cooling solutions and can plumb it in. Which most people probably don't know how to do that. That's the thing I'm thinking. Most likely, whoever won it would just stick it on eBay for somebody else. So, as much as I appreciate the gesture, and you probably better stick it on eBay and getting some money back for it, because I think if we give that away, the people who win it will just stick it on eBay. So you may as well just do that yourself. Network errors again. Scumbag Twitch. You had one job, Twitch, one job.
Twitch, what do you expect? Miracle?
They're clearly having problems.
Just gonna have a look on their Twitter support and see if they've got anything.
How much do you usually spend to get started with iRacing? Some people told me it's $700. What?
No,
that's a complete rubbish. Golf. That's a massive exaggeration. Motley's in the pink tractor. What's he done? What's he done?
He's either going to be trolling or he's done something wrong. Ooh, Twitch support 1 minute ago. We are investigating reports of network error appearing on some streams. Hang tight.
On some streams, I like that. So it just happens to be mine, is that what we're saying there?
Yep. That was 1 minute ago.
Oh, excuse me. It says, I remember that it is not your fault you switched seeders, which someone, admin, did not set up, probably because you have a faulty seeder.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened, but, because obviously I didn't do this, but if I did do that, it would probably have been caused by the fact that, say, for example, I was given the wrong seeder and then got switched out with one with the incorrect crop assigned. And when I would have driven that, I would have then realised it was the wrong crop and switched it over. So even if I seeded it, it wasn't my fault that got seeded, if that makes sense. Hypothetically, because it didn't happen anyway.
I'm just confused with all the because we switched this, but we didn't switch that, then we got this, then we got that, but we didn't get this. Yeah,
it's lawyer speak, that is, Steve. Yeah. That's what lawyers do.
Yeah, exactly, and now my brain's fried.
They just talk rubbish, so everybody goes, what?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they just destroyed some crop. No, it's just the corn bit that's wrong. Here comes Tommy with a trailer.
You never sell your old stuff, Ants? Well, I mean, you should do, because it's a way of getting some money back. Like, if you buy 1080s, you sell your 980s, you're probably going to pay 30% of the cost. At least, because some people can't afford like a 1080, but they can afford a second-hand 980, and that's still a good upgrade for them. So you're actually doing them a favour, and it reduces the cost if you buy the 1080. If Squirrel checks Discord, he might find evidence of the alleged offence. Hannah, would you listen to what I was saying? If you remember the circumstances, Hannah, last week, what happened was I had a seeder and the seed was correctly set, right? And then, because somebody gave me a broken tractor mod, it wouldn't actually seed. So somebody then brought me a different tractor or a different seeder, and it had the wrong crop assigned to it. None of which was my fault. I was doing my job correctly. The handover went wrong, and the handover was an admin. Boftus, thank you for the resume, Boftus. Lord Reaper, Steve and Squirrel, one day this month you got to do a farming MP session, but only with pink tractors, as it's breast cancer awareness month.
We did that at the beginning of this map, I think.
Okay, rip this field.
Why? What's up?
Well, you can't actually seed the corner properly because it's on a slope.
Oh, okay. Oh, right at the very top, yeah, it slides.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when the alleged offence occurred, Hannah. You need to look at the. You need to look at the preceding few minutes to apportion blame. Paul Workman doesn't blame his tools on me. Well, he does, but I'm not blaming my tools. I'm blaming the person who handed over an incorrectly set up tool. I'm not blaming the tools at all.
It's like giving you a circular saw without, you know, with a cheese for a blade or something.
It's not the workman's job to set the tool for Metal Dragon. Imagine if you're a dentist, right? And the dental nurse, right? Basically, the dentist goes, I need a 3-wire, and the dental nurse is responsible for handing over that 3-wire. Yeah? And then he fits it. He asks for this, he gets given that. So when I set my trailer up, it was all set up correctly, and then because it didn't work, I got handed another one, which was then not set up correctly, but nobody mentioned that fact. They even told me what to seed.
Either way, it's not an issue.
Why is this sunflower coming out like the black seed? It's so black, look at it.
Yeah.
It almost looks like canola when it comes out.
I was just going to say that, it's like
It's the dentist who gets sued. Yeah, but it's the dental nurse who gets sacked. Cricketer, hello, how you doing? Let's just put it down to a mix-up. Communication breakdown. Oh, excuse me. Poor workman blames his tools, but a good workman blames his admin, lol.
I agree with that.
Oh, do you know, I smacked my arm on the door handle before. There, now hit the bone.
Alright, funny bone or not?
No, like your forearm bone, you know, with on top
right.
where you've got no protection. Yeah. Slammed into that.
Ouch. It's like when you hit your funny bone, everyone around you starts laughing, but you're not.
Yeah, you get like an electric shock up your arm.
It's the worst feeling ever. Even better, let's just blame Steve. Everyone blames me. Well, everyone blames me, so it's fine.
What do we mean, Tommy? Have you not heard that joke? Dentist walks into a bar. Neither have I. I'll let you make up the ending, Tommy. Has to be funny though, okay? Why is it called a funny bone? Well, allegedly it tickles, but it doesn't really. It tends to hurt more than tickle.
It's because it's. Someone explained to me the other week why.
A humerus bone.
Yeah, humerus bone or something. Yeah.
It's because it's Latin names like humerus something or other.
I don't know if it was with us or was it after. I don't know. Somebody explained it the other week anyway.
Pretty sure smacking your little toe on the chair leg is a little worse.
No, stepping on Lego is the worst.
Stepping on a plug.
Or yeah, an upside down plug. That does hurt. That does definitely hurt. Yes, RDB. A good farmer also checks the crops before seeding. A real farmer only has one seed for one crop, so would therefore fill the seeder with the correct crop and not have a selection.
Well, let's put it this way. Say the farmer got out there with his tractor and his seeder, and he'd already loaded up for sunflower, and it turned out the trailer was broken, like the seeder was broken. So he gets his assistant and says, "Replace me this," and the assistant says, "What are we seeding?" "Well, we're seeding sunflower." "Okay." So he goes away and brings the farmer a seeder, a new one, but he's not filled it with sunflower. He's filled it with something else. Whose fault's that?
I would blame the assistant.
Twitch is killing you, yeah. Well, they know there's a problem. Yeah, the British plug socket is one of the worst plugs to stand on, trust me.
Yeah, because American ones, they lay flat, so you can stand on them. The Euro ones that have got 3 pins, but they're rounded, so they end up falling on their side. They've not got a flat top, whereas the UK ones, they've got a flat.
And not only that, the earth pin sticks up and it's big.
Yeah. It's like every other plug socket on this planet. It will, if you drop it, it'll roll onto its side. Whereas the UK one, 9 times out of 10, will land upside down. It's like buttered toast. It will always land buttered side down. The British plug is the safest. I don't doubt it. I completely agree that it is, but they hurt.
Oh, we're not talking about it not being the safest. It is one of the safest plugs ever designed. It's a great bit of design, but if you stand on it, it hurts.
It's painful.
I'm showing us offline. GG Twitch.
Yeah, I'm definitely having problems.
It's very true. They're not designed for you to stand on. That is very true. Well, you know what it's like. People unplug stuff and then just, you know, leave the plug line there. McMinn, sorry. I'm glad you enjoyed it. No, not sponsored by Monster. Just the mod has got the logo on it.
I think the guy that developed it liked Monster.
The thing is, Motley's trailer looks like it's like mostly full, but it's only 67%. Because it all piles up in the middle.
Yep, same as Tommy's. His looks pretty much. I mean, it's got a lot of room at the back, but it's only 75% full.
And I'm micro lagging badly.
Yeah, I keep getting stutters.
It's just really stuttering going through this crop. Energy drink people are weird. I think Steve likes energy drinks, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, I like the Monster.
Would you class yourself as weird?
No. Everyone's weird in their own unique way, however.
What is normal?
Yeah, exactly. What is normal? No, I like Monster. I've gone off the green one onto the white one because it's zero sugar.
Oh, I was watching this I got in bed last night and put TV on. I was watching this program that was on part 6 of 8 or something.
Right.
It was on BBC, and it was people being basically trained and tested to become an astronaut.
Wow.
It was on BBC, and it was actually really interesting. Like, they went to where'd they go? They went to Sweden and to like some super secret test center.
Right.
And they had one of those centrifugal things.
Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, before that, they did a test on. It was the hypoxia test. So
Right.
one of the things that we're trying to assess the candidates on was whether or not they could basically, what do they call it now? They call it something like task tunneling. So what happens is, when you're in space, pretty much everything's trying to kill you. Let's put it that way. This is how they explained it. Like, it's really harsh environment, and one of the most deadly things that can happen is an oxygen leak, like a slow oxygen leak, because it's actually hard to spot the slow oxygen leak until it's got to the point where you actually are passing out, and then it's too late. So what they did was, they put this face mask on them, and they started to lower their oxygen mixture from like 100%, which is about, what, 21% O2.
Right.
So they started lowering it down until they got to the point where they could feel the symptoms of hypoxia, which is oxygen starvation. And it's basically different for everybody. Everybody has a unique way of reacting to lack of oxygen. And the point is that you have to basically learn what your symptoms are, so that you can spot it happening. So they did this. They gave them this task. They said, start with the number 1000 and start subtracting the number 7 from it, right? So they started writing down, 1000, then 993, and all this. And as they were doing that, at some point they would start to lower their oxygen mixture. And then they had to describe what it was like. So they started lowering their oxygen mixture. And this guy was like 2 minutes, and his oxygen mixture was already down to about 60%. And he said, and they said to him, they didn't say anything to him. They waited to see if he noticed symptoms.
If you noticed it.
Yeah. And for this guy, he said, "Oh, look at that! My fingers are starting to go blue." And then he's going, he said, "I feel a bit lightheaded, and I feel a bit tingly in my little fingers." And they said to him, right, at this point we have to stop the test. We've got you down to 53% mixture, which is the lowest that we're prepared to go. And they have to have like a medical expert on standby, because it's actually a very dangerous test. Like, people can pass out and die doing this.
I can imagine.
But they said you need to remember the symptoms, because when we do it next time, which we'll do shortly, what's going to happen is we're not going to tell you when we are turning the mixture down, right? You basically have to spot it. So now you've seen what your body reacts like, you have to remember that.
Notice it,
yeah, you have to remember that, and then you have to spot it happening, because and the way they explained this was, there's two things about this. One is, if the candidate doesn't spot the symptoms of hypoxia while they're doing a task that they've been given, that puts their own life in danger. Because they will pass out before they even realise what's happening, because they've got like task tunneling. They're so focused on what they're doing, they don't notice the lack of oxygen, and then they basically pass out and die in space, which is bad for them.
That's true.
The other thing is, if they think they're getting hypoxia, but they're not actually getting hypoxia, and they call out, oxygen starvation, they'll actually cause like an expensive disruption to a space like operation, even though there's nothing actually wrong. So what you don't want them doing is calling oxygen
False.
starvation when exactly it's a false positive. And what they had like 8 candidates doing this, and 2 of them basically got down to 53% and they had to call the thing off. In other words, they didn't even notice they had hypoxia.
Wow.
Right? They did. Like,
I'd hate to do it though.
yeah, they were like 4 minutes on half of their oxygen level, and they didn't even notice. The guy just went, "Oh yeah, well I thought I felt a bit lightheaded, but I was fine." So that's a problem, because that guy was about a minute away from just passing out. Like the next stage is just pass out, and then 2 minutes you're dead. So that's bad. These other 2 people, this woman, it was hilarious. This woman was doing it, and they hadn't even turned off the oxygen level at all. She was on
screaming.
She was on 100% oxygen, and she's doing this task, and all of a sudden she went, oxygen starvation, and they stopped the test.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, I was going lightheaded and everything like that. And the commentator said, well, with Katie, we haven't actually turned off the oxygen, but she doesn't know this yet. And she walked into the other candidates, and they're all going, so how was it? And she's saying to them, oh my god, I was going so lightheaded, and my fingers were all going funny, and everything. Oh, I just called it. Like, I was called, I'm dead set. And she hadn't, like, it was all down to the stress of the situation. Nothing was changing.
It's down to that stress and thinking about it too much.
Exactly.
So she's not focusing on the task.
Yep.
She's focusing too much, thinking,
exactly.
oh, I'm losing oxygen. At this point, something's going to be happening. Oh, I feel it now. And it's that, I forgot what there's a proper term for it, where people think that they got something.
It's like a hypochondria.
Yeah, hypochondria.
It's like that, really.
Yeah.
They think they've got something wrong with them, and there's nothing wrong.
And there's nothing wrong with them, yeah.
So I think she was the one. Oh no, she didn't get sent home. That's right, because she'd done pretty well in the other stuff. Then they got to the centripetal thing, right? And there was a few of them that were looking forward to it. And basically, the idea was they would start off spinning you around at like 1G just to get you used to the sensation of it all. And then what they would do is they would gradually ramp up the G-force until it was at 4.5G, which is a bit above the G-forces that you experience at launch, right? So you're sat inside this capsule, and it has a massive screen, so it shows you like a view of Earth outside, and then it spins you around. So you experience the G-forces, but as you're looking at this visual, it kind of looks like you're in a launch state. So they spun this guy up to like 1G, and they went, "Are you okay now? You okay with that?" And he was like, "Yeah." And you could see this kind of strange smile on his face. He was going, yeah, it's great, yeah, loving this. And they said, "All right, we're going to take you up to 2G now." So I went, okay. And they started taking him up to 2G. So now you could look at him and you could see, he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I feel really heavy, like my arms feel really heavy now." Then they took him up to 3G, and you could see the smile was starting to go off his face. He was starting to feel like, I'm not really enjoying this right now. And then they took him up to 4G, and at this point, his face looked like it was melting. Like, all his skin was like getting dragged down under the force of the gravitational, and his smile was not there anymore. He was like going, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they go, "Right, we're going to take you to 4.5." So they took him to 4.5G, and he was okay. Then they asked him like a few questions, just to make sure he could actually think, because it's one thing to be able to cope with 4.5G, but you need to be able to actually be able to think at 4.5G as well. So they took him to 4.5G, and then he passed, and then they stopped the test. The next time they did it, because get this right, and I didn't know this, apparently Russian is the international language of space.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really?
so all these astronauts have to basically learn Russian.
Well, and that's me not going into space, then, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So they put them inside this pod again, the centripetal force pod, and inside the cockpit, everything is labeled in Russian. Right, all the buttons are all in Russian. And so as they're being spun around now at like 3.5G, which is like launch gravity, as they're being like launched at 3.5G, they start asking them questions in Russian, saying, what does it say on panel A on button 3, but it's all in Russian. And they look at it, they have to work out what's been said, like panel A, this panel, button 3, that one, and then read in Russian writing what it says there and read it back, all while they're experiencing 3G. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's me never going to space then, because I ain't learning Russian.
Yeah. But it's a good series if you can find it on BBC. It's I can't remember the name of it, but that was one episode. I'm gonna go back and find the others.
Yeah, someone mentioned it in chat earlier that I've seen something similar, and it was Destin from Smarter Every Day. He did a YouTube video on it, and he went into one of those chambers where they suck out all the oxygen and give you an oxygen mask, and they did that. Told him to take off his mask to see how well coordinated he was.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, like them kids' toys where it's like a square and then it's got like holes for different shapes and stuff. They gave him one of them, and they only brought the oxygen level down to so much for like simulated on a.
But he was like, couldn't do it. Like...
thing. And he was putting them in, and he got the first 3 or 4 right. And then it kind of went back to to the same shapes, and he's trying to get the triangle into a square one, and then like this is only after 40 seconds or so.
Yeah.
And then it's like going into another one, and the guy's there telling him, saying, "Put your mask back on. Put your mask back."
Yeah,
on.
I saw that.
And he's still trying to put this shape into the thing. And his face is just smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah.
And he
was
literally
high.
going under the effect of, you know, the oxygen. I forgot what the proper name is. Oxygen withdrawal thing. Hypoxia. And he's literally just still trying to put this thing in. The instructors there going, "Put your mask back on." And he's still going at it. Next minute, the other guy that's in there just grabs his mask, puts it on his face, and he walks out and he says, "I just don't know what was happening."
Yeah.
He says, "My mind was just so focused on trying to get this shape into the square." But yeah, it's a real thing that you need to be worried about.
Yeah, so 3G, Vrom, that's what it's called. Astronauts, do you have what it takes? So 3G is what you experience on a roller coaster, but you only experience it like briefly.
Yeah, for a couple of seconds.
But this is like sustained 3G is a lot different to a brief 3G.
If you're getting launched to, you know, the bloody moon or whatever, you're going to be going through a lot of force for that.
Oh, there was
30 seconds or so.
There was one test that was really interesting. So this this psychologist who works at the Space Center has devised this test, and what they were saying was, like, astronauts have to be able to work together because they rely on each other. Like when they're up there, it's basically just them and space is like a really, really harsh climate. So they depend on each other to stay alive, basically. So one of the qualities I look for is teamwork and also leadership. Like some people will naturally become leaders. So this woman devised this test, right? There was 6 of them. They split them into 2 teams of 3, and each team was then given a challenge, right? They were given a whole load of pieces of paper, like A4 paper, and paper clips. And they said to them, right, all stand with your backs basically facing each other. So if you imagine they're stood in like a triangle, but facing outwards from each other. And she said, right, in this part of the test, we're going to tell you that collectively you have to use the pieces of paper and paper clips to build the tallest tower that you can in the time we're going to give you. She said, but you have to now come up with your designs and communicate your designs to each other while you're stood facing away. So what the idea of this test is to get these 3 candidates to voice their ideas about a design for a tower using paper and paper clips, but they couldn't see each other. Yeah, so they basically, when you take out one aspect of communication, which is the visual, they can no longer like use hand gestures and facial expressions to talk to each other and say, no, I mean, we're going to do it like this. They can't do it anymore, so they have to verbally communicate. So they then like express their ideas, and some people were naturally becoming a leader and other people were like not saying very much. That was the first bit of the test, right? So they came up with these designs. The next bit of the test, they all got to sit around the table with their pieces of paper and paper clips, and they had to actually build it now, but they weren't allowed to talk to each other now.
Wow.
So they then had to do the building, but they were unable to speak to each other. So they had to gesturize, and they said the candidates will start using more facial expressions and hand gestures to try and communicate what they mean. But it was this like really, really interesting test because it takes away like one line of communication during each phase of the test. But it basically brings out a lot of things in people. It brings out leadership and communication skills.
I was going to say that's one thing though. You've got to rely on the other people because, like, if you're going to go to the International Space Station, how many people are up there? About 6 astronauts at one time. You've got to rely on what the other people are doing.
Yep.
And
they said it's vital that you can communicate with each other.
I wouldn't be able to go through that. It would just be so physically draining. The rewards at the end of it, they're going to be fantastic, but no thanks.
Hey Giant Uni, how you doing? Hey Dave Libido.
David Libido.
Most people wouldn't even make it past the first test, and me included probably.
Yeah, me as well.
It's honestly, the testing that they do is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And all of these candidates, think it, Steve, all these candidates were like, one had a PhD in meteorology, one was doing, they're super bright people. Well, the 33-year-old woman, Katie, she was a RAF pilot.
Wow.
They're all.
So she must have had training then for the.
She's had hypoxia training already.
Yeah.
And yet she messed it up.
She messed it up.
Which is really weird.
Thing is, I've been watching one on Channel 4, and I forgot the name of the presenter, but he did a survival series, and it's a group of people that are really smart that get dropped in locations and they've got to find a way of getting out.
Yeah.
And the one that I just watched was they were dropped in the middle of a desert with 2 aircrafts, like a little Cessna and a 757, and they had to build a vehicle to get them to travel 30 kilometers to the nearest road so that they could be rescued and whatnot. And it's the guy that did that SAS, Are You Fit Enough or something challenge. But it's really interesting. I'll have to get you the
I love stuff like that. It's really cool.
Honestly, it's so interesting watching them work, because the first day or so they're trying to adapt to the weather, to the extreme heat that was in the desert.
Yeah.
And they were just absolutely tearing each other's heads off. They was like, I know how to do this. Well, have you ever had experience with this though? Well, I've done this and this. And they were just literally having a go at each other. And then the day after, they was like, okay, we need to get serious now because we're running out of water and we need to do something. So they kind of split up into their own different things. But by the end of it, they literally smashed it. They'd got this Cessna and they just chopped the wings off, put a fuel tank on the roof, and just was like, right, try the engine, off we go.
What was the name of this program?
I forgot what the name of it is, but I'll find out and I'll let you know. I'll finish this field and I'll have a look, so it'll be in my history.
Yeah, I'm going to download the first episodes of Astronauts because I want to watch those.
Yeah. But like I say, it was really interesting watching them work, and they were saying, oh, we've got this big massive jet engine here, we could strap this to the back of it. And we're like, yeah, but jet engines are complicated things. You can't just strap that to a little Cessna and hope that it works. So that it was really good. I'm gonna have to look for the name of it and let you know. Yeah, I can't get all of that.
You can't?
No, there's a thin little strip, annoyingly. Sounds like Scrapyard Challenge. No, it wasn't Scrapyard Challenge.
That doesn't sound like Scrapyard Challenge to me.
No.
All right, Mad Mick, see you at Cosford.
No, Train Simmer. That's the guy. He was in that. He did the SAS. Are You Tough Enough? But it's a new series that's just started on Channel 4. I'll get the link and I'll put it in chat in a second.
Oh, it's a new series.
Yeah, it's a new series on Channel 4. Oh, that's it. Yeah, it's called The Escape, or just Escape. That's what it's called. And it's on Channel 4. Really, really good. Really good.
Well, please do other things other than just holding a pipe over a trailer and driving. Okay. Like what exactly?
Like other things apart from holding a pipe. But we're harvesting a field. That's other things. Anyway, that field's done.
He's doing Cosford Silverbird, I am. Did somebody accidentally install the creators update on Twitch or something? Like it.
More than likely.
Field 4 harvest sunflowers. Field 4 good.
Field
Okay,
4
back
is
at the
back
farm.
near the farm. But yeah, it's called The Escape. Have a look for it on Channel 4. It's, I think you'll enjoy it, Paul. I think you really will.
Oh yeah, I love stuff like that. I love watching the improvisation.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I really enjoy things like that, like improvising solutions to things.
But like I say, I'll not spoil it anymore for you. It's really good. But I'm going to have a look for that one that you were on about. What's it? Can You Be an Astronaut, or whatever it was.
Yeah, you got to see that. You can watch all that in the iPlayer.
Yeah, yeah.
Matty, yeah, Edinburgh to Cosford's a bit far.
Just a little. Although you could get a cheap flight from Edinburgh down to Birmingham, then get on the train.
Yeah, but the train will probably cost more than the plane.
Oh, yeah.
Train, I think, when I did it last year, from Birmingham to Cosford, I think it was about £8 something.
No, Wyland. I've not sharpened any knives. I've been too busy trying to get better this week. I will try and get round to it at some point. Is it this field, I think?
Yep, to your left.
Don't worry, Wyland. I'll let you know how sharp they are.
I'm going to wait here until it starts updating.
No Yazoo this year, but you'll know me when you see me, Squirrel. Probably, maybe. I meet a lot of people, that's the problem, Silverbird, and trying to remember all the names to all the faces is very hard.
I think you met Silverbird actual last year.
Oh yeah, he brought the Yazoo, and somebody
Oh,
brought...
that was it, yeah, he brought you the massive Yazoo.
Yeah, he did. That which I drank and enjoyed, I might add. Somebody brought me like 4 bottles of Diet Coke, some massive 2-litre ones.
Oh yeah, Miss Frosty brought me a 2-litre bottle at...
That's right, I remember
that was at Insomnia last year.
No way to Cosford, oh yeah, no, it's too much, it's only not worth it. Why is there a big gap in this field?
Yeah, I'm just wondering that.
What the heck?
Someone obviously didn't want to do it all.
Somebody forgot to come back?
Possible.
Just filling up a heater thing, spilled the fluid over my hand arm, didn't realise lit and it was on fire.
How did you not realise that he was on...
Oh my god.
Well, maybe I think he's on about that he didn't realise that he'd spilled it on his arm. A bit singed. Did you smell the, burnt hair? That's the worst smell ever. If you singe your hairs when you go,
Yeah, Towie, that's too far flying to Manchester. If you can't fly to Birmingham, Birmingham's not far away from it, Cosford, but not Manchester.
Hepic, or Hepific, if that's how you pronounce your name. Yeah, hotels generally do cost more.
Oh, Dave. Singed hair smell, it's lovely.
Singed hair, it's horrible. Smells horrendous.
Cheap flight from Texas, Navarine. I think any flight across the Atlantic is, you know, what, 500-600 quid return minimum? 700 most likely. If you get it better than that, you're doing pretty well.
I'm going to say, I guess it depends on the airline that you're going to go with. Come on, game update, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand it, Towie. Has anyone seen the lottery PR? What do you mean, so? Rainbow Island, thank you for the resume. Jove Hato, 12 months using Amazon Prime, but still here for the long run. Thank you very much, Jove Hato. I think I missed your 12-month anniversary, but thank you for that. Remembering to resub with Twitch Prime for 12 months is impressive. Chili Willie, 17 months. Hello, Paul. Things are well. Great to see you, all of you. Hey, Chili. How are you doing, bro?
Probably a bit chilly. It's getting colder now.
Office, thank you for the resume. Ouch.
Ow.
Actually, it hurts.
Have you moved it? Have you moved the
I switched it to the
microphone?
other side so I could get
That's
the
why
camera on
then.
the other side. I
That's
said
why
to
then.
people it'll take me 2 weeks to get used to it.
Uh-huh.
It's years of muscle memory right there
Yeah,
trying to be
it
unlearned
is.
right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, Chili, mostly relaxed down the farm. It's all farm sim plays up and doesn't synchronize properly or crashes because we can't get people in the server. But that's just farm sim. Maurice, hello Paul, finally able to send something after all those years of watching your stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you, dude.
Here's a funny fact for you. You know farming sim?
I do.
How we get the synchronization when you join.
Yep.
It also happens that farming sim mobile also synchronizes.
Of course it does. It's the same code.
Yep. It also, but it's a lot quicker than PC. But that's because you've not got mods and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's still synchronized.
I'll follow you.
37.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jules, I think another reason why Twitch has been weird because of the full moon tonight.
Lol. Is it going to turn into a werewolf? Oh.
I don't think it's that, Jules. Where is Cosford taking place? Scottish Animal. Cosford. At the RAF Cosford Museum. Whoever seeded this did a really weird job.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitch have tweeted out 15 minutes ago. The recent issue with network error appearing on stream should now be resolved. Thanks for all the reports. Yeah, should. They should put that in quotes, but they haven't.
Ferrobird, 6 months, half a year already. I think it was last Thursday we talked about judging people, and I'm sorry to say this, but Squirrel, you are so nuts. You should be the leader of the nut house, Kappa. Thank you very much, Ferrobird. Enjoy the silver acorn. Definitely not resolved. It's the same size as Duxford or smaller. Smaller. Definitely smaller. It's flight simulation, you know, it's not a huge market anyway. It's a niche market. And Cosford Museum has like a bunch of planes inside and it's laid out around the inside of it. You can see it on the website. There's a a diagram that shows you who's the exhibitor plan. You can see, give you an idea.
Right, if you're going to do that bit on the right, I'll switch and do the bit on the left.
Okay. Yeah, Scottish Animal is too much money. If you can't get there cheaply or relatively cheaply, it's just not worth it, really. I mean, it's a nice day out meeting people, but I mean, Cosford itself, it kind of kicks off at 9:30. They open the doors, I think, and there's different lectures for the day, but you can walk around the thing in probably half an hour or something like that.
More about meeting people.
Yeah, it's more about talking to people and just seeing like flight sim equipment and then watching some of the lectures. It's but you know, a lot of people have gone by lunchtime. They come and get the swag bag, walk around, have a look at things, and then they go home. If you're talking hundreds of pounds, it's just not worth it unless you're going to stay over and come out for some beers and stuff.
Which is generally what like last year.
Which is generally what it's about, really.
But last year, though, it was really good.
It was,
Like, us four just sat around that table drinking them goddamn
cocktails.
Cocktail jug things. I can't remember how many we went through.
At least 4.
Oh, yeah. 4 pints in each one as well.
Well, yes, tell me, it did take me about 4 hours to walk around.
Yeah, because every like,
Yeah,
you'd walk like a meter and then someone would say, "Oh, hey, squirrel," and then you'd stop and chat, and then, yeah.
But, you know, that's what you're there for. I'm not taking my filming equipment this time. I'm just going to walk around. Can't be bothered with it.
Speaking of beers, check my comment. He's off work from the 23rd to the 30th of this month. If you have an evening or night free, you might come down to that there London for a kebab and beers.
23rd to the 30th, Dave. Dave, send me a message on WhatsApp to remind me, and then I'll look at the calendar.
Don't use WhatsApp.
That's the best thing, Dave. Because otherwise, I'll forget. You just want to go to the infamous Tommy Tuckers, don't you, Dave? Because you're thinking to yourself, it's not really that good, is it? But
it can't be that good.
Dave, do you like Thai food? Because I can take you to Tommy Tuckers and I can take you to Thai as well. My favourite Thai restaurant in London.
Yeah, but you're not going to have both, are you? Unless it's coming for like
Not on the
2
same
days.
day, no.
Yeah.
You love Thai, right? Okay, so we'll have to sort something out, Dave, because I need to show you Tommy Tuckers. I need to show you my favourite Thai restaurant. The only problem with going Tommy Tuckers, Dave, is when you've been, your local kebab shop's going to pale into insignificance, and you're probably going to end up moving to Chelmsford. Griffy dog, 4 months. My belly seems to be expanding at an alarming rate, and I swear I can feel something kicking. What does this mean? 5 more months until my Twitch baby. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Giffy. So Griffy, not Giffy. Yeah, exactly. Just move for the kebab. You get a lot of expensive uni job, but just make sure I have a lot of trips south. Find yourself in London a lot, yeah? First to come and meet you, the first, some others, look around, walk the nearest McDonald's and spend the night at McDonald's. Wow. Well, I don't think there's anything near Cosford in terms of McDonald's and stuff. No, Tommy Tuckers, James. You can't wait for your trip back to the UK this Christmas so you can have a kebab. Brilliant.
I think Hannah Louise is playing golf. 4! Well, I'm not having to take out tonight.
You'd walk 100 miles for a KFC, Pizza Hut Express or McDonald's. You'd walk 100 miles for a McDonald's? Are you kidding?
Nah, I wouldn't.
Not
it's a bit
chance.
too far. I wouldn't even walk a mile unless I was really hungry.
So if you was to stand outside of, like, I don't know, Greg's and a sandwich shop, and then somebody said, if you walk 100 miles, I'll pay for your McDonald's, you'd walk 100 miles?
No, I wouldn't.
I'd be straight in that sandwich shop.
I'd be straight into Greg's.
Exactly.
I'll say, give me a cheese
Couple
and
of
beans
pasties.
pasty. Yeah, a couple of pasties, that'll do.
Yeah, Matty, don't worry, bro, it's fine. It's too much money. You'd walk 100 yards. Ooh.
McDonald's is horrible compared to Greg's. To be honest, I prefer Greg's because, you know, they've got a nice selection of pasties and sausage. Their sausage rolls are amazing. And if you want the custard and I think is it custard caramel donuts? Oh, they're so good. They're not as good as Krispy Kremes, but they're good.
They're quite nice. The signature burger at McDonald's is quite nice.
Yeah, I like that one with barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I go for the spicy one myself, but that and the chicken selects are quite good.
The chicken selects are good, yeah.
New KFC recently pasted out the other day, it's 250 metres. That's too close.
As if you've actually paced it. You know, you've gone 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, 250 metres for Dave, that's a long way. That's a long, like, his stride is only about 6 inches, I think. So, I mean, 250 metres, that's a lot of steps.
Lol.